Hey everyone, my name is Anna and I'm here to talk about my suggestions for you to teach online. The reason I'm doing this is because I had many friends asking me how I have been managing through the years the online teaching because, everyone is facing this change right now because of coronavirus and not everyone is enjoying the idea of teaching online. So I decided to go ahead and create this video and share with you what are my best practices. Before I talk about the best practices, I think the most essential thing you can do for yourself is learn about the benefits of online teaching. Because if you don't see the benefits, your students are not going to see the benefits. Even though it's online, the people still can feel your vibe. So if you're not motivated or engaged to do it, they're not going to be either. So learn about the benefits. For example, convenience, flexibility. There's no excuse such as bad traffic, bad weather anymore, right? Because everyone can access the class through the cell phone or computer. Classes can be recorded and reused. So there are not a lot of excuses like, oh, but I don't remember when the teacher said something during the class. Just send ahead your video. And it's just like, there are so many benefits. You need to do a research on internet. Put those benefits in your head before you get started. And if you already started, it's not too late. You need to learn that it's actually a good experience, or otherwise neither you or your students will have a good experience. Does that make sense? So I'm gonna share with you some of the resources that I use and how do I engage people. For me, the most important tool, software I can use to teach online is any type of software that I can share my screen with my student. And that's going to be either if you are teaching lifetime or if you're recording a lesson. I make a meeting with myself and I teach as I'm recording, like if I was teaching someone. To share my screen with the students or to record lessons, I use Zoom. That's exactly what I'm using right now. So the video you are watching, it's a video from my computer screen. I'm not looking at a camera, I'm looking at my computer right now. If you can share your screen with the student, that's how you're gonna give to them a more natural environment, like if you're actually teaching and writing on a whiteboard. Since I mentioned whiteboard, most of the softwares, such as I'm using Zoom right now, but there is Zoom, Skype, GoToMeeting, WebEx. Most of them offer the option that you can share your screen, the most important, or they also have a whiteboard. And I have many friends ask me, oh my gosh, how do you use this whiteboard? This whiteboard is so confusing, I'm not sure how to do it. They're a little lost. I share a Word document. I never use the whiteboards. My Microsoft Word is my whiteboard. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna show you how it works. So let's suppose that we are on a live lesson right now, okay? And you're my student and I'm gonna show you something that I'm talking to you about. So I'm teaching Portuguese and I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen with you. So I'll go to my menu bar and I will share my entire screen. So I have here a Word document already opened. So you still can see me. If you wanna make the camera bigger, you can. If you wanna make it small, you can, doesn't matter. And here is what I would do if I was teaching in lifetime. You put a text on a screen. And why I use Word, not whiteboard? Everyone knows how to use Word already. That's something that we've been learning through many years, right? So everyone knows how to use. So instead of going and learning how to use a whiteboard best practices, you can just go here and use. Because things you can do with Word when you teach in lifetime. If you know you have students that are on their cell phone, you know that a font size 12 is going to be too small for them to read. So you can go ahead and just make it bigger. If you were talking about vocabulary, for example, you can just go ahead and highlight, and you can highlight all those words without any issue because you know exactly how to highlight something with Word, right? If you want to separate a sentence, And if you want to highlight maybe whole sentence, you're just going to go there and tell your students, okay, everyone, read the sentence in pink for me. Just like that. So very beneficial. Word is honestly my best friend when I'm teaching. I don't even bother to open a whiteboard. But again, it is just a personal choice. That's just my best practice because I don't have to be like, how do I do this if I want to do something? I already know because it's Word. Another benefit about using Word is after the class is over, you can go ahead and save the document and send to your students. So everything you talked in class, the students will have access to. Now I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Let's go back to the main video. Okay, so this is what I do. That's how I use my whiteboard, and I keep my camera right there so students are looking at me as I'm talking, and they are also reading the text. Let's talk about background now. Right now, I'm using a fake background, okay? And this is not my office. My office is a disaster right now because I have a toddler and I'm working full-time. Anyways, a disaster. You don't want to hear my crazy story. But I do have a fake background and I'm going to show you. So Zoom offered this feature, and like I said, most of the softwares out there will use as well. You can choose a virtual background. So here's what happens when I do not choose. I have a green screen. You have the option of select a green screen or not selecting a green screen. I do have a green background, and here it is. It's literally just a piece of rag hanging on the wall for me. That's simple. And you can go ahead and change for any background that you want. Now, people always ask me, let me go back to where I was. People are always asking me, should I use a virtual background? It depends. Depends on the circumstance. Who are you teaching? What you're teaching. If you're teaching a boring topic, do not choose a green screen. Do not choose a fake virtual background. Because if you're teaching something boring, it's really hard to keep people engaged. For those situations, you want to be changing spaces as much as you can. One day you teach in front of your living room, one day you teach from your kitchen, one day you teach from your office. Just change the environment, but don't make it fake if the topic is boring. For example, I teach Portuguese. When I'm teaching verbs, which is a boring, tough topic to learn, I do not use virtual backgrounds. But if I am teaching little kids, then, kids are hard to keep attention. So what I do, I set my background there, and as I need, I go ahead and change my background. I put something fun there, and then I tell them that I'm going to be changing the screen, and they need to make notes of how many times I changed the screen and what did I change. So you need to write how many times and what the pictures were. So kind of like playing little games, and that helps them to keep engaged with you. I'm gonna change her, take the policeman off. That can work with adults as well, because if you are talking about something that's boring but you still can change, I don't know, if it's related to what you were learning, I would say yes, use the fake background. Try to not use the same thing over and over again. People get bored very easy. Do not use the same background over and over. You need to have the ability of be changing places as much as you can. Now I want to talk about other resources. There are two things that I like to mention. One is learning management system. The other one is a classroom tool. A classroom tool is similar to a learning management system. It's just something online that helps you to manage students' grades, help you to manage all the attachments you want to send to those students, things you want to share with them. If you want to share news, kind of like a Facebook. The best one that I know is Google Classroom. It works just like a Facebook, but for your online environment. You post news there, you put the grades for the student, you can send private messages, you can send messages for everyone to see at the same time, you can add attachments and send over. So really cool. That's a classroom management tool, and Google Classroom is my favorite. Now, learning management system is a little bit different. It's a place where you can host your course. So For live lessons, it's not going to be such a big help. It can help, but not as big as for a self-paced course where you load a course and the student go and take on their own pace. Typically, the learning management systems are very good with reporting. You can see even like last time a student logged in, when he logged. So if the student told you, oh, I couldn't log in, it was not working, with the learning management system, you can see if the student logged in on the course or not. At the moment, currently, I teach more with self-paced courses than live lessons. It's just because I do have a full-time job and it's hard to find time to do all that. So I do use a learning management system instead, where I just host courses ready to go. You just go there and attend, and the only thing I provide is feedback later based on their assignments. Last important resource I want to talk about. I know there are so many, right? This is just a short video. Last important resource I want to talk about for this short video is microphone. Do not use your built-in microphone in your laptop or computer. They do not work as great, and the sound is the most important part of your class. They may not see you well, but they need to hear you well. Also, when you start a lesson that's more than one people there, even when there are just one, teach them. Give them an orientation class a little bit before. Tell them that they need to mute their microphone always when they're not talking. If they're not talking, they need to mute their microphone, because you never know if there is going to be an unexpected sound on their environment. So you want to always tell them, keep your microphones mute, turn it on when you're going to talk. Now, this is the questions that I hear the most. How do you engage students online? Oh, tough. I know. So I'm going to talk about some of my best practices, just give you some ideas. I could go over and over about this, but I'm sure you don't want to be listening way too many. So I just few tips for now, and maybe later on I can provide more ideas. The first thing is, if you have not started the course, send to the student a little card, virtual card with a profile. Show them who you are with your picture. Talk about things you like the most. Talk about your hobbies. Talk about your if they have that feeling that they know you already, they feel more comfortable with you online. Students need to feel that they know you already. So give as much information as you can about yourself to them. You also need to learn about them. How do you learn about them? Especially if you have a big classroom. There are a few forms that you can fill electronic where you can ask questions. Kind of like those electronic surveys. I'll put a list here for you of some ideas, but basically what you can do is create a little something like help your teacher learn more about you, and then you put like what are your hobbies, same things, what you do, and the most important goal doing this is that you want to learn what is the motivation. What is the motivation? Why that person is taking that course with you? Is that a required course or a course that they are interested in? If it's a required course, you're going to have to put a lot of effort in taking care of that student, or otherwise that student is going to fail. Because when it's a required course and it's online, it's harder and harder to them to keep attention. So you're going to need to follow up more often with your students if the course is required. Say their names. There is this sentence that I love. It says, remember that a person's name is to that person the sweetest and the most important sound in any language. So say their names. It just sounds pleasant to them. Every time you're repeating someone's name, they just feel more comfortable with you automatically. Another thing that is great for you if you have a group, especially, make them make cards. They write, I know I didn't write, but you make them write agree, disagree on one side, or yes or no on another side. Or maybe some funny sentence like, oh no, please, something like that. So as you're teaching, you call someone's name. For example, you say, hey, Julia, do you agree with this statement? And then Julia, disagree. So that keeps kind of like give a little game sense to the class, and they love it. So this is it for today. I thought it would be a short video. I hope you liked it, and I hope this can help you somehow. If you need any assistance, please let me know. I'll be able to help. And if you want to learn Portuguese, oh my goodness, yes, please reach out. Thank you.